let's get this day 4 review started. Let's start out with the Warriors Nuggets. We're gonna go a little backwards today, as this one ended up being one of the more entertaining games, probably the most entertaining game of the night. As both of the teams were going back and forth, and it was noted that David Lee would not play for the rest of this postseason, and that included tonight. So all he could do now is sit from the sidelines. But Denver and Golden State were going back and forth. It was only a 2-point game at the end of the first. And then the second quarter is when it became the Klay Thompson Steph Curry show, as they started making shots. And they would go up as much as 8 at halftime. And then it was going in the third quarter. The Golden State hot shooting continued. And this will be a huge trend in this throughout this game, as they were just hitting bucket after bucket, shot after shot. And the Nuggets just had no answer on the defense. And the problem with Denver is that they're not a good 3-point shooting team. They're a good in the paint, pound the glass team. They're not a good 3-point shooting team. Although they did make 9 threes tonight, but they only shot 34% from the 3-point stripe. As the Warriors would end up going up as much as 16 at the end of the third quarter. And then every time Denver had a shot, Harrison Barnes or Steph Curry or Klay Thompson or even Jared Jack would have a response. And then the Nuggets could just never really get back in the game. I mean, every time Brewer hits a 3, Steph Curry or Barnes would hit a 3. Well, maybe not Barnes. Yeah, Barnes hit a 3. Yeah, so Denver had no answer on, and if they knew that once you're down double digits, you can't just pound the glass. You have to start making threes. And unfortunately, Denver was forced to really take a lot of them, more so Corey Brewer than anyone else. And I forget his name. All right, well, anyway, Corey Brewer had to take it more than anyone because he's one of their better 3-point shooters, along with Andre Miller and Wilson Chandler and Iguodala. But they just struggled. I mean, they were able to get points, but they were never not get any stops, and that's been their lone problem. The Warriors ended up making 14 threes, and they shot 64.6, basically 65% as a team, as the Warriors dominated the Nuggets on the road and dropped 131 points. They won 131-117 on the road. Denver known to be one of the best home teams in the league. In Golden State, who just lost David Lee, were able to come out, have 4 players in double figures. Steph Curry played much, much better from the first game. He ended up with 30 points and 13 assists. Jared Jack, 26. Harrison Barnes, 24. Klay Thompson, 21 on 8 of 11 shooting. I mean, I'm as stunned as you probably are right now, because Denver just got blasted. Their defense was torn to shreds. The Warriors just outgunned them. They outshot them by a large percentage margin they outshot them at least 15%. And they outshot them at 3-point shooting range, 56 to 34.6. And it was just a massacre. This was just an anarchy offense by the Warriors. It was amazing to watch. But now the series is tied, and Game 3 will be on Friday night on ESPN DOS. Now, let's go on to the other games now. Celtics, Knicks. Celtics looked embarrassing the second half of the first game. The second game proves to be the same story, but first, let's see how it started out. Sorry. Knicks, they went up as much as 6 at the end of the first quarter. But then the Celtics really got clicking on the offense. I mean, Paul Pierce was hitting shots. Jeff Green hit some here and there. Jordan Crawford hit some shots. And they ended up outscoring the Knicks by 12 to have a 6-point advantage by halftime. And now you're thinking of Doc River, and now you're thinking, okay, it's Pierce and Garnett. They know they did bad in the second half of the first game. They're not going to do the same thing again, right? It won't be as bad, right? It got worse. The Knicks, they come out of the gate shooting 2 straight threes and making them, tying the game. And then the Knicks just went on a huge run after that, a 24-4 run. And then the Knicks would end up outscoring the Celtics by 21 in that quarter. And that would make the Knicks go up by 15 at the end of the third quarter. as the Celtics only got 11 points in the third quarter, and then the Celtics respond by only getting 12 points in the fourth quarter. Knicks only got 13, but the Celtics were the ones having to do the catch-up, and they didn't even make a single field goal attempt in the last 9 minutes of that game. Yeah, so they ended up shooting 19% the second half, and they didn't make a single field goal the last 9 minutes. I don't know if it's because the loss of Rajon Rondo from months ago is finally coming back to haunt them, or is it Father Time knocking on their doorstep? I don't know, because Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, they're still good. They'll still get you your 18 to 24 points a night or something like that, but they're not good enough to come back from these deficits anymore. Father Time is knocking on their doorstep, and they need some young bloods to really come in there and try to help carry the load, because it's becoming that time. Carmelo also had another fantastic game, 34 points. Raymond Felton chipped in 16. J.R. Smith, 19 from the bench. J.R. Smith is the sixth man of the year, come to find out. The Knicks, I see the Knicks winning in 5 now. I had it winning at 6, but I think it's going to be 5 now. I think the Celtics will win the next game, Game 3, on Friday night on ESPN. They'll get behind that big Boston crowd, first home game since the incident, but it stops there. Right now, I think it's more like Knicks in 5 right now. But the final score is Knicks 87, Celtics 71, Game 3 Friday night. Now, let's go on to the NBA TV game, the Bucks and the Heat. Now, contrary to post belief, I thought this was going to be a blowout. The Bucks really kept it close for the longest time. I mean, Ersan Ilyasova, say that 5 times fast, really carried the load of the offense for the first half. He got 14 by halftime, as the Bucks were only down 4 points. And LeBron struggled a little bit in the first half, but he got it going later on. And really, this was just a close game for the first 3 quarters. But the problem is that the two guys who shined the brightest for the Bucks in the first game, Monte Ellis and Brandon Jennings, shot a combined 5 for 22. Jennings shot 3 for 15, 0 for 7 from the 3-point stripe, and only got 8 points. Monte Ellis only got 7 points, and both of them turned it over 6 times combined. Larry Sanders had a much better game at 14 points, and Mike Dunleavy did as well with 16. And then the fourth quarter came, and the Heat went on to a big run, going up as much as 16, and the game was just never close again, as Dwayne Wade took over that game. He ended up with 21 points and 3 assists, 7 rebounds overall. LeBron James, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. He didn't have a stellar, spectacular game, but he still had a pretty decent game, although he did turn it over 4 times. But Heat did what they had to do to win. They got it done, 98-86. Game 3 is on Thursday night on TNT at Milwaukee. I think if the Bucks are going to take one game in the series, that one's going to be it. But that will be it for today. Now, be sure to come back tonight or tomorrow morning as I go through tonight's Game 2s, which include NBA TV, Hawks, Pacers. I got the Pacers winning that one. Rockets, Thunder. Can the Rockets at least make this a close game? Nobody knows. And the Lakers, Spurs. I have the Spurs winning that one as well. All right, I'll see you all again soon. I am out.